I almost forgot I had a beer here. Sorry. Well, the fighting scene itself is... What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Nick, the founder of Video Entertainment Talk, and I just saw that there's a new Witcher Season 4 teaser released by Netflix. Now, I'm looking forward to watching the teaser, reacting and reviewing it. I know there's a lot of people out there who already have a negative opinion about the new season and of course about the recast because as we know Henry Cavill had his issues with the producers and the writers of the show. Because he's such a big fan, he felt that the way they were going is not the correct one when it comes to developing the character even further and developing the story. So he had an argument with them and decided to exit the show. So Liam Hemsworth had to come in and fill those big shoes. And people already think that he can't do it, before even giving him a chance. I'm not going to state a solid opinion about it. I would rather see the whole season first and then make a conclusion about his performance and his depiction. So I'm going to give him a chance. I know it's going to be hard because Henry really put his heart and soul into building the character his own way. The way he spoke, the way he acted, the way he fought, it was absolutely brilliant. The only thing that I didn't like about Henry's version of Geralt was that he was way too buff. I never pictured Geralt of Rivia looking like that. He wasn't described as this huge muscular guy. He wasn't described like that in the books. He wasn't like that in the games. This is how Henry came in following his Superman role, and that's how they did it. And that was the only thing I really didn't like, especially when he had to perform the fighting scenes. He did the motions really great, but the costume that he wore was very tight, and because he was very massive, sometimes you could tell that he had some difficulties moving in the way he should. And that's the only thing that I kind of didn't like about Henry's version, but everything else was absolutely stunning. I'm going to first see Liam's performance and then make a comparison, but that would happen after I've watched the whole season 4. Now, without further ado, let's just watch what this teaser might have in store for us.
It's a wraith. Stand back. With these words, your mortal shall meet my fate with fiery hell.
Fatality. Well, that was a teaser. We didn't see much, of course. It's a teaser, not a full trailer. Basically, a quick action scene. But there are things that I liked and things that I didn't like as much. So let's first talk about what I liked. I thought that the Wraith was designed pretty decently by the VFX team, and I also like the music. It's typical Witcher lore music. It was awesome. I almost forgot I had a beer here. Mm. Now, contrary to what many people may think about Liam, I actually thought that he looks pretty decently as Geralt, at least based on what I just saw here. You know, he looked just fine in the Witcher clothing, the pants, the jacket, the leather jacket. I would have to watch more to give a more solid opinion about that performance. Sorry. Well, the fighting scene itself is not that impressive, in my opinion. There are things that I like about it and things that I don't like about it. What I didn't like about it was Liam's moves with the sword. He looked kind of stiff, in my opinion, but I don't know if it was the slow motion giving me that impression. I would have to see more on his side when it comes to fighting to make a conclusion about that. What I liked was how he pushed himself away from the Wraith using the art sign to make some distance, which gave him just enough time to actually cast the Yilden sign and trap the Wraith, which, if I'm not mistaken, actually gave him the chance to physically attack it, which is what he did because he tore the Wraith's heart out. And actually, I didn't find that very impressive. It wasn't as cool. The Wraith disappeared, turning into ash and smoke. He was standing firm. He was looking the Wraith in its eyes. But I wasn't hyped about it. I actually think that they overdid the smoke in the environment. I think there's too much smoke, especially static smoke on the ground. So they kind of overdid that for me personally. What I saw here was that Zoltan the Dwarf and Milva the Hunter were with Geralt, probably on a bigger quest than just killing the Wraith. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see when season 4 comes out. Up to this point, there's not a lot of interest in it. There's only 1.7 million views for the last 5 days, which isn't that much for a production like this, for a production of this caliber. But I guess people really are withdrawn from the TV show following Henry's exit, and let's be honest, the previous season wasn't as consistent as the first 2 seasons, and viewership is reducing. There's going to be actually a season 5 confirmed right after this one, and then it will be a wrap. People are already acting like it's a dying show and we're just going to forget that it ever existed when it's all over. But I think that the TV show gave us fans things to appreciate, and I'll stick with the Witcher lore through thick and thin. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Nick said so.